Hey team, and welcome to another episode of Couch Coaches, the show that loves to talk about the Warriors and rugby league in general because we are just lovers of the great game. Tonight we have a lot to talk about. Sean Johnson's back in the team. He's back in the starting 13. Jazz leaving the Warriors at the end of the season. And also we called it. The Warriors sold out every home game this season. Called it at the start of the season. I mean, you may think that might not be a big deal because probably even maybe other people called that as well. But still, we called it, so I'm claiming that one. I'm your host, John Lazaron, and I'm joined by my co-host and good mate, Richard, the bandwagon conductor, Laddie. First things first, Richard, how's it going, mate? How's your week been going?
Choo. The bandwagon's back up, baby. Finals footy, here we come, I reckon. Never in doubt.
Awesome.
No, good week so far. A win's a win, you know. But I think we could have won by more. We had a few moments, and I'm sure we'll break down the game. But it's just sort of coming to this end of the season, and there's definitely a bit of external, not really external. It's still in the Warriors realm, in the Wars realm. But yeah, bit of news this week to discuss as well.
Yeah, exactly, and we'll get into that because there's some big stuff that we want to talk about. But let's just have a quick moment just to talk about the Tigers game, and just for you out there listening and watching. This will be coming out a little bit later than normal. That's my fault. I was away for work outside, so we couldn't do the recording until Wednesday. So apologies on that front. But anyway, let's talk quickly about the Tigers game. Now, it was a game that the Warriors were expected to win. Let's just be honest. It was a game that we were expected to win, and I expected us to win, and we did win. And you look at the score; it was quite comfortable. However, I wasn't convinced. I still wasn't 100% convinced. I thought we could have won by a lot more, like you were saying earlier, because of the fact that we were down. We dominated territory and position of the ball, and we were down their end. I mean, I don't know how many times, and we just couldn't convert their position to tries. And it wasn't convincing for me. And if they are going to play finals footy, which they are still a chance to do, they're going to have to step it up.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. You summed it up pretty well there. I thought we were definitely the better team on the day. We started well. We've struggled a bit this year with our starts. Often, those first 20 minutes have been a bit of a problem for us. But I think we were up 10 or 8-0 by then. Good to see Chanel get a few kicks over. It was a great moment when he finally got that kick over. I think that just after the week that he had, just you could see the relief on his face. But just the response from the crowd was just amazing. Now everyone up on their feet. They did a couple of good sort of super slow-mos of some of the Wise fans in the crowd. But yeah, we do need to be more clinical. I think I think the fifth tackle options were obviously a big issue there, and there wasn't much happening down that right side as well, which it could be a reason why. Obviously we'll get to the team this week, but obviously Sean Johnson's come in, but to a few people surprised. What's his name? Who I was just talking about got the kick. Chanel Harris-Davida has got the 6 jersey this week. So, but in saying that, there was plenty of just really good performances from a couple of the guys in the team. I thought there was probably about 2 or 3 guys who potentially had the best games of the season. Fanua Blake just immense. We touched on him last week. He was huge, and he was even better that week, I thought. Obviously Roger at fullback. It's what we all. Every time he goes there, we seem to be like, he's still pretty good at fullback, isn't he? Maybe he's wasting the centres, but he's got a bit more room to sort of run around, and he showed that. And I thought Dallin was huge as well. I thought that was potentially one of his best games in the Warriors jersey. I thought he just looked like he had a few extra wheat bits for breakfast on Friday morning, but we got the job done. 2 points. I mean, it was convincing. I think there was about a 5-minute period where sort of Tigers scored those 2 tries at the start of the second half, and then obviously they got the Curacao got their late try, but they got it was a pretty soft 14 points or 16 points, whatever they sort of got there. So I'm sure that they would have been happy to get the 2 points, and they'll know that they'll need to be better when they're playing some of these better teams. They do have a couple of. I know you've said you think we can probably potentially win every game coming up, but there is still some tough games. We've got the Dolphins, we've got Manly, we've got the Sharks as well.
Yeah.
So three teams that are currently in the top 8, and we've struggled against some of these top 8 teams this year. So we will have to be better going forward. But I think they would have been happy just to get the 2 points in front of another sold out sort of Mount Smart Stadium. It's just incredible. They're sold out every game. And the more I think about that, when you first sort of threw it out there, I was like, nah, you're dreaming.
Yeah.
I think I said no one's going to turn up to Tigers. We're not going to sell out a Tigers game, are we? That was the example I used, and Friday night showed that I was wrong. So
Man, I remember very clearly.
I was gonna say, what were your sort of what was your take on the game? Was sort of it was it was an enjoyable watch. Like I thought we had some great moments, and definitely need to be more clinical. And with Sean Dotson back, maybe we'll be a bit more a bit better in those 5th tackle options this week.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I wasn't convinced. I wasn't convinced at all. And going on the comments that I saw on social media as well, and I know that the comments are just from fans, and we're all couch coaches, at the end of the day. But you could see that from the comments that a lot of the fans weren't convinced as well, and it's hard because you're trying to figure out which fan is being an outright dick, or who's actually just having an honest opinion. And there were a lot of honest opinions on there critiquing the game, and I agreed with most of them. I agreed with most of them. I just didn't think we were on fire at all. And there were some individuals, like you mentioned, Anthony Blake, awesome, Roger. Like when he's got the ball in his hand, I think he just needs the ball in his hand and he can do some work. He wasn't getting a lot of the ball in his hands playing at center, which just robbed him of, or robbed the Warriors as well, of his ability to go forward, because he always, when he does have the ball in hand, he posts always 200 posts match meters. Not post match, sorry, just 200 meters. Yeah, so he's always getting a lot of
post contact.
Yeah, I got it wrong. Yeah, post contact meters. Yeah, I don't know what's in post match. I'm thinking of the media stuff that comes out in my head. Post match media conference. Sorry guys. But anyway, he was doing that, and I just think that he just needs the ball in his hands, and he'll. I know he's not playing at fullback this week, but at wing he should get more ball in hand as well. But no, I wasn't convinced. I just thought there were some great individual performances, but as a team, they need to gel better, because I know that their run towards the finals isn't as difficult as other teams. Maybe probably, in my opinion, the most difficult game would be Manly. I think that's going to be their most difficult game, but that doesn't mean the others are going to be easy either. I mean, you got the Eels, for example, who are second to last on the ladder. I think we should easily be. Oh, okay, I don't want to use the word easily, but we should be able to do what we did to them. We should be able to do to them what we did with Tigers, but we should do it in a better fashion. And plus, if the Eels had Mitchell Moses playing, I would be a bit more concerned. But he's not playing at all. I don't think he's playing. He's out injured for the rest of the season, I think. And I just think that we just need to. I don't know. It just looked all clunky, their attack. And then in their last tackle plays, the options, what they were doing, it just it wasn't working. It was like they were just hoping for something to work instead of just having a plan. That was my thoughts on it, and it looked a bit just weird, because we know the Warriors have been pretty good, with the last tackle plays, especially when Tamari Martin and Harris DeVita had been gelling together. So I don't know, it just didn't make sense to me. Yeah, so I just think overall they're just going to have to step it up. They just need to step it up a bit, because they're going to need to. And but Tigers may be last, but it doesn't mean they're awful. People are going to call them awful and stuff, but they're showing patches that they've got what it takes, in patches.
They've got some good players.
Yeah,
they've got some good players. Obviously Carousel's a great player. I think that Luke Galvin's one, they're going to have to do everything they can to hold on to him. When you think about some of the players that they've let go of in the last 10 years, You speak of Mitch Moses before, obviously James Tedesco as well. So they've got a basis there. Dream Buller, he's a freak at the back, So they've got the sort of makings of a good spine at least. So if they can find themselves, I think number 7's been a bit of a switcheroo between sort of Caesar and who was playing there? Fan, I think it was, on the week on Friday night. So, but on the Eels, I don't know if you watched the Storm game last week. It was on after the Warriors game, but the first 20 minutes they were leading the Storm and they were all over them. I mean, the Storm were just taking the opportunities as only the Storm can do. Against a lot of other teams, the Eels would have won that, but the Storm ended up, running away with it because there's just too much class there. But they're just too well trained. But the Eels show what they're capable of, and if they can bring that heat this Friday, and give it to the Warriors early on, we might be in a bit of trouble. So. They'll just as I said before, it was good to see them actually start the Warriors start all right. But there's definitely some issues with particularly the fifth tackle plays, and they were running the ball well, but I don't think we didn't score a try for kick, and when you're scoring, probably scored 5 tries in that game, you would expect there to be a kick in there somewhere. We didn't really look like scoring from a kick at all. So hopefully with Sean Johnson coming back this week, that'll tighten it up. But just quickly, we've obviously talked about Ed Cossey a bit in the past. Did he pass? Did you give him a pass this week?
Yeah, I mean, we give him a pass, but that's just passing. That's just more like a C+, more than anything. But and I'm agreeing with you. Like we're getting go forward meters, but when we get down to their end, it's like we don't know what to do. And I think hopefully, like you said, hopefully they will change with SJ there. But let's move on from this game and let's go to your segment with the Wily Eels. Do you want to take us through that?
Sure thing. So we've got our own equivalent of the Dally Eels, but we're just doing them for the Wars, call them the Wally Eels. So we give our 3-2-1 points. I think last week was the first time we'd actually hit a unanimous 3-2-1. All season. So it was a big week for us. So we'll see how we go this week. It was a big week for the. I'll start us off. It was a big week for the double barrel surname boys for me. So I had Fanua Blake, 3 points. He got my 3 last week as well. 20 carries, 285 meters. I think it was. I think he had like 219 meters in the first half or something. Like it was. He was just making meters for fun. 6 tackle breaks, and then obviously scored that late try as well. He got my 3, 2 to DWZ. I thought, as I said before, I thought it was one of the best games of the Warriors jersey. He just looked like he was a man possessed. He was breaking tackles everywhere. 8 tackle breaks he had. Scored a try, which he pretty much had a try assist for as well, because he flipped the ball out to, I think it was Graham Twelfer, and then he flicked it back into Dallin. Roger, my 1 point as well. But I probably would have pretty easily given any of those players 3 points, to be honest. I thought they were all standouts on the night. And so as I said, it was a bit of it wasn't our best, most polished performance, but I think there was some great individual performances.
Yep, no, I agree with you, and I've actually got the same as well with you. I've got Fanua Blake 3 points. You said it just before. You read out his stats, and he was awesome. He was back to his best in doing what he does, and if he can continue to do that, we'll do really well. We just need to be able to finish off what he starts, with the forward pack starts on the field. So 3 points to Fanua Blake, 2 points for Roger for me. I just thought he was awesome, and you can see that he was well in defense as well as attack. He was doing really well, and he just looked like he just belonged. He belonged in that position, which is hard because a lot of people have been calling for him to go back to fullback, but Webster's already said from the start of the season that's Charns's. That's his jersey. So he's on the wing now, and I think if he's not going to play fullback, the next best position for him is on the wing. But 2 points for Roger, and my 1 point goes out to Dallin because I just thought he had an immense game as well. I thought he was good, and he did that one run where he just broke about 5 tackles, and he was bumping them off as well. It was awesome. That was awesome. So I love that. So for someone who's probably not as big, not as for a winger as well. He's not as big as your normal winger, NRL winger these days. He does show a lot of fight and passion, and he gets through. So, yeah, good on him. So those are my 3-2-1s.
Nice. Yeah, I think it was pretty clear that I thought they were the three best in the park. So it's good to see us on the same wavelength there.
Yep, sweet.
Big news out of the Warriors camp. Today it's really just come out on the Stuff podcast, and Jazz Tomago he said he's not going to beat the Warriors this year. What was your initial thoughts, John? I saw you posted on the Facebook page and some nice comments from some of the fans. You know, I think he's always been a fan favorite. But yeah, what was your initial reaction to that?
It was, I mean, I guess I wasn't shocked because, you know, like you've always heard little bits and pieces, little rumors about Jazz Tavanga, you know, hoping to extend his contract at the Warriors. And apparently, these are just rumors, okay? So I don't know if it's actually true or not. But so I did read something on an article as well where I think he got offered an extension, but it wasn't to it wasn't the contract he wanted. So he asked, you know, if he could prove himself, and he wasn't gonna get the contract that he wanted. So that's why he's moving on, not because he hasn't been signed on. I think it's because he just didn't get the package deal that he wanted. And so I don't know. I mean, I saw the announcement, but I didn't see, his main reasons why or where he's going. There's nothing. I didn't hear about that. So if you did enlighten us, but it's hard. It's a hard one because he's a Warriors man. You know, when you look at Jazz, you think Warriors man. I actually thought he would be just that one of those players that plays for one club all their life. I actually thought that would be Jazz. You know, he'll be one of those people, but didn't happen, mate. And I know that you love Jazz. So I just want to see your thoughts. What are your thoughts on Jazz? And if you can give us also, give a little message for Jazz as well. Give a little message for Jazz.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was similar to you. I wasn't super surprised. I think more because we have a lot of depth in the middle at the moment as well. You know, you think about if it wasn't for injuries this year, I don't know how much game he would have been actually playing this year. And it's no dig on him. Yeah, he's a great player, and I suppose I was going to be a message to Jazz. Just thanks for the memories, bro, because it's been an honor and a pleasure to watch you. Through the years, and I think you've matured a lot as a footballer in the last. I'm not sure when you would have debuted. Must have been probably 2017, 18, I imagine. So yeah, 6 or 7 years. I feel like when he first came in, he was a bit of a hot head, got himself in a bit of trouble, but he's kind of. I think he's just toned a lot of that down, and I don't know if he was on the ACC podcast last week, and I listened to his chat, and it was quite funny. He sort of alluded to the fact that he was he'd been a bit of a loose cannon in the past. My favorite Jazz memory is still that late hit against the Titans, and that it was it was a dark day for the Warriors. Something like the Titans. I think we lost 44-0. Kane Evans got sent off. I think that was when he had the little message on his armband as well that came out after that. But yeah, Jazz just put in this stupid late hit, and it was classic Jazz at the time. But I imagine there's obviously more to it. And I think I haven't listened to it. I just read a little sort of review of the podcast he was on, and he said him and the club had talked, and it sounded like they mutually agreed to. So maybe there was an offer there, but he might think that he's probably worth more in another team. So if you're listening, Jazz, I hope I wish you all the best for the future, because another club will be lucky to pick you up.
Yeah, no, very, very good words. And if you're listening, Jazz, I think that the words that Richard just said, I think we're really spot on there. Watching him play as an early player, he a bit of a hot head, and he probably admits that, as you said. But he's matured a lot. And you can see that in his game and stuff. So thanks for all the memories, Jazz. Yeah, and we wish you luck, just like Richard said. We wish you luck, and we don't know where you're going, but wherever you go, always give us an up the ass. So yep. So we'll move on from that. In the other news coming up with the Warriors is the big news as well is SJ returning, taking over to Mario Martin, who now doesn't just drop out of the starting 13, he drops out of the whole 17 altogether. So that's a big one. And when I look at that, my first thoughts were pretty much because previously what Webster had done is Coach Ruby, he would put Tamari Martin at 6 and Johnson at 7, but it hasn't really worked, has it? Previously in the games that they've played together, so I'm thinking that's where he's going. I don't think it's got nothing to do with Tamari Martin. I think it's just the fact that the combination doesn't work. Whereas in Harris Tavita at 6 probably will work better with Sean Johnson. So I think that's where they're going with it as well. But, just on another side note, Luke Metcalf makes his return in the New South Wales Cup this week. So he's playing New South Wales Cup this week. And I think that if he pulls through really, unscathed from that game, I think that they might bring him back on. And that might be what, that's from the start of the season. I think that's what they wanted all along. Where you have SJ at 7, you've got Luke Metcalf at 6, and then you've got Harris Tavita as a utility who can play, the halves or even hooker if Wade Egan goes down, which has happened, on a regular occurrence at times. So I think that's my opinion. Yeah, and that's my opinion is that that's why Tamari Martin has missed out, more due to the fact that he probably doesn't gel. He hasn't gelled well with Sean Johnson in the past, and Harris Tavita's a bit of a natural 6, so you have to leave him there. That's my thoughts anyway. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, pretty similar, bro. I was sort of like a bit surprised, and then I when we were also doing a bit of research and even just looking at the stats from last week's game and last couple of weeks, and Harris Tavita's he's had a lot more ball going his way. He's been making a lot more things happen. As I said before, the right edge, especially on Friday night, the right edge was very clunky. There wasn't much happening down there at all. And I think the way that Tamari Martin and Harris Tavita are playing at the moment, I think Harris Tavita is playing more of a 5'8" role. He's sort of and he offers the left foot kicking option as well. And I mean Sean Johnson and Harris Tavita they would have played a little bit over the years. Probably obviously more than sort of Tamari Martin and SJ have. So and I do agree about the Metcalf thing. I think if he's fit and looking like he's on, I wouldn't be surprised to see him slot back in there. And that was what, as you said, as you alluded to, that was what was happening at the start of the season. It sounds like, I mean, how long's he been out for? It must be 14, 15 weeks, has it been? Yeah, a long time, eh? So maybe they'll give him a couple of weeks, but
yeah.
Maybe they'll give him a couple of weeks just to test it. But I did listen to him talking on a podcast last week as well, and sounded like he's full contact training now, pretty much. Like the only thing he's not doing is playing a game. And the fact he's been selected this week in New South Wales Cup obviously means that they think that he could effectively play for the first team if he needed to. So it'll be interesting. I hope to see. I hope SJ can just come back in. And he was obviously, got a bit of a hard time early in the season. But we know that he wasn't fit. He wasn't 100%. He was playing through injuries and was hardly even training. And it was obviously showing in his game and in the team's performances. So hopefully, if he's back and feeling good, we saw what he did last year, and I feel like he's still got the drive. So whether he's, I'm sure he's still got the skills to sort of, really lead this team. So, fingers crossed he can. I'm looking forward to seeing him come back, and he'll obviously take the kicking duties as well. So, can save a little bit of stress for some of the Wise fans too.
Yeah, well, I hope so because even when he was playing, when he was last playing, he wasn't taking the kicking duties, but he had someone like Pompey that could actually, you can rely on Pompey when it comes to goal kicking. Yeah. Whereas, and as we've seen over the previous weeks, it's not the same for Harris Tavita, but he obviously Harris Tavita knows he's probably after that first game against the Raiders. We hit the goal kick when there were some shockers there, but I think that he realized, okay, I've actually got some goal kicking practice, and he did. He came back and he did pretty well. So yeah, but let's hope Sean Johnson is fully fit, because every time he has come back from injury, so to say, in the previous games, he's always still not 100%. So I'm really hoping this time he's actually 100%, because Achilles and having an Achilles injury is. Oh, I mean, I've had an Achilles injury. They're nasty. They're nasty. They're nasty. So hopefully he's fit and ready to go. And I saw some comments on social media saying, I hope you have more options for last tackle plays and stuff like that. So it was pretty funny. But I mean, yeah, there's a point to that. I hope he does, because I don't want to just see the whole put it up and put the bomb up there. Don't challenge it. Let them take it, and then we just tackle, and then set up defensively. I hope there's a bit more creativity when it comes to the last tackle plays when Sean Johnson's back on. But we'll talk more about Sean Johnson and the game itself coming up. But before we do, bro, I just wanted to ask you, because something else that was interesting at the Warriors headquarters this week is that Laumapi. Remember Laumapi, former Warriors player and All Black Hurricanes and All Blacks player. Yeah.
Today.
Yeah, so basically, for everyone who doesn't know, I'm pretty sure everyone does know, but for context, he turned up to the Warriors headquarters, joined I don't know if he joined in on the captain's run, but I know he at least watched it. He sat in on the captain's run, and it said it lit a fire inside. In his own words, it lit a fire inside of him, where he said he had some unfinished business. He wanted to finish what he started, is what he said, and hopefully, he said, my team, his agent can come and do something, can sort something out there. So obviously, he's keen to come back. But the question is, do we want him, or do we need him, or does Webster actually want him? Because he was a bit coy on it, wasn't he? When he was asked about Laumapi in the media, he was like saying, yeah, he's a great player, but he basically said, we'll have to think about it. So it wasn't like he was jumping out saying, yep, we'll sign him on. We'll take him on board. It wasn't like he was, jumping at the opportunity or the prospect of him jumping on board. So,
yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I was going to say, you wouldn't say no, would you? I thought he was pretty good when he was at the Warriors, but he was far from the sort of professional athlete like he is now. When he went to rugby, he really just took off. He embraced that. He did make the All Black. I think he missed out in the 2019 World Cup squad, and it was one of the biggest travesties, because we just lacked some power in that midfield, and I don't know whether the coach is just like, no, he's played league. We don't want him there. But yeah, and then he's obviously been in Japan playing for a few years as well. So and playing with some world class players over there. The way he plays is still, he's obviously playing a different sport, but the way that he runs the ball, it looks like he'd fit pretty well back into an NRL team. So if he was up for it, I mean, I think we'd definitely have a spot for him. Surely, I mean, centres hardly. I know. I mean, we've been a bit unlucky this year with the injuries and all that. I think when everyone's fit, we do have a bit of depth there. But I mean, if he came back in, surely you could make a case for him.
Yeah, but would he be a centre though? Would he be in the back line though? He's a big boy, so, and he's. I mean, I think he's 31 or 32. Do you think that maybe he could even, if he was to come back, that he would, could possibly put his hand up to be a forward? He's big enough. So
I don't know. I think he's played centre or second five of his life. So I feel like he'd go back into the centres. I know he's not.
I mean, I'm not sure.
Like, I know you're saying he's a big boy, but like he's not actually that big. Like he's a little nugget. So
but
I suppose he'd be about similar shape to Dylan Walker's and your Jazzers, but they've spent a bit more time playing in the Fords, and they've balanced it out. But yeah, we'll see. I think I'd love to see it. And I think I did see a lot of people saying, I know he wasn't that good when he was with the Warriors, but I think I thought he was pretty good, and B, he was there at a time when the club was up to bugger all. There was no development going on, and if he came into this coaching team, I feel like he could have a good time. But yeah, there'd be obviously conversations had. But yeah, it was interesting to see it, and I think the Warriors were sharing they were sharing all the content. They were obviously, the social media team were obviously on board with it. So there's obviously been some conversations had, and I don't know, we'll see whether there's any cap freed up in the next. Well, if Jazz isn't returning, then there's a spot. There could be a spot there. So
well, that's
maybe
the issue.
Players and just change player.
Well, that's the issue. Is the cap. I don't think he'll get on. Like I know you're excited about it and stuff, but I really don't think there's space for him, even if they wanted him. And because like Fanua Blake leaves, and that's $1 million freed up in the cap, but it pretty much gets swallowed up by Fisher Harris as he comes back on. So I really don't think there's a lot of space in the cap for him, because it depends what and he would have to take a pay cut, because I'm assuming he's making quite a bit of good coin over in Japan.
He's on Japan rugby coin, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he makes a bit good coin in Japan. So he'd have to take a big pay cut. But I think from just hearing him speak about it, I think it's more about like you said, unfinished business, so he wants to. So, I mean, I'm not against it. I just don't think it'll happen. And, and from listening to Webby, it didn't sound like it was something that was, one of his on the top of his priority list. But we'll see. We'll see.
That's the sort of coach that Andrew Webster is. That he's never going to, he never gets too excited about stuff. His priority is, this week, Eels game. Picking up 2 points. I don't think he probably wouldn't want that sort of distraction within the team. So he'd be very much playing it off. But we'll just see if there's anything that happens in the off season there.
Yep. Well, speaking of contracts, something I wanted to bring up quickly before we move into talking about the game coming up against the Eels. One of the players from the Eels, believe it or not, Blaise Talangi, a young up and coming footballer who's got a lot of promise. He's got a good future ahead of him. Has announced that he will be leaving the Eels and moving on. And I think from what I've read is that he's probably going to go to the Penrith Panthers, which is a good move, which is a big move for him. But he's done nothing wrong in terms of contracts, because he got offered a contract by the Eels, so he just said no to it. So there's nothing wrong with there. But there's been other bits and pieces going around about Brian To'o from the Panthers being shopped around and stuff. And apparently the Panthers CEO has come out saying, no, that's not true. I don't know where this rumor started. But that rumor is still floating around. It's still floating around like it's actually like a thing. And I don't know if it's got anything to do with because his good old mate Jerome Luai is going to the Tigers next year. But I wanted to ask you just your thoughts on players honoring contracts, because in the NRL, it doesn't feel like like a contract is really that binding. It's supposed to be, but how many players have got out of their contracts just because they feel like it? Like, I mean, I know Fanua Blake is left on compassionate grounds. We all know that. Okay, we all know the reasons why he's going. But it seems like this day, any player can just go, you know what? I'm sick of living in this. I'm sick of living here. I'm sick of living in Newcastle. I'm sick of living in Townsville. I want to go somewhere else. And they can just, even though they've got another year or two left on their contract, but they can just do it. And somehow the clubs just, go with it. And I think there needs to be some talk around. The NRL need to be real tighter on that. They need to do something there, because if a player can just leave their contracts that easily, like, how do you know how long you're going to have them for? I mean, we were supposed to have Fanua Blake for another 2 years, right? Another 2 years post this season. I'm pretty sure.
No, 1 year. 1 year, I think, because I think when it came out was last year. Last year, and they were saying, "Oh, he's got 2." He basically wanted to get out straight away. So
yeah.
I think it was till the end of 2025.
2 seasons, yeah. So he had 2 years on for when he announced it, when he did this. So, they brokered a deal saying that we'll let you go, but you still have to play one more season. That's why they brokered a deal. That's right, I remember now. But the point is, I'm trying to make is that players have a lot of power. So are contracts really binding these days? And should players be honouring the contracts and the time that they sign on for? I mean, unless it's like a specific situation. Look at Reece Walsh, for example. Look at Reece Walsh. He left.
Yeah.
He left because I mean, I think he got the fame. He got the fame, like because he earned it. He earned it. He was playing really well, and he was showing what he could do. And then all of a sudden, Brisbane's like, "Oh no, we want him back." And he's like, he's more than happy to oblige because that's his hometown. Like, for me, this just doesn't. It's a it's a bit of a sour taste in my mouth.
With Reece Walsh, didn't he break out with his missus? Like he broke out with his partner, and then he had a little kid that he wanted, which it's absolutely understandable.
And that's understandable. That's what I mean by there are certain specific situations. You and me, we're both fathers. If we're in the same boat, we want to be close to our kids, right? So I totally get that. I totally understand that. It's about the fact that for me, it's just the whole honoring the contract thing. And
yes, I know. I mean, it's as you said, we've talked about it a lot in this podcast in the past, but just what's the contract worth in the NRL? I mean, it's in most sports these days. You see these wacky wild things happen. I mean, I think that on the Blaze Tagalagi, just quickly, he's a great player, and if he does go to Panthers, that's an absolute coup because. But yeah, I mean, so you think about Cherry Evans when he was going to go to Titans, and then he just backflipped on that. David Fafita earlier this season just pissed off two clubs, and pissed off the Roosters, pissed off his own club in the process, and the fact that he sort of went back on it, I suppose, is a thing that is like maybe he's got a conscience after all, so. But yeah, you were saying that a bit too much in the NRL, and saying that though, I'm not complaining that Fisher Harris has done it to the Panthers, and he's coming back home on compassionate grounds to get in touch with his roots.
Yeah, so that seems to be the word. Seems to be the magic words, aren't they? The two magic words, compassionate grounds. But again, I'm like you. I'm not complaining about it, and there are specific reasons. Like for Noel Blake wants to be close to his family. Reece Walsh, his daughter. Totally understand that. Fisher Harris wants to bring his kids in, and bring them up in where he grew up, which is understandable as well. I mean, he's, to be honest, with Fisher Harris, he's given so much to the Panthers anyway. He's 3-time premiership winning, prop for the Panthers, and he's given so much so that's why I don't think they had an issue with it, because it's not like he's just doing it because he wants to go to a better team. It's got nothing to do with it, because he was playing for the better team. He was playing for a team that had just won 3 premierships in a row and were in the grand final the previous year. So basically, it's not like he was trying to get out of something and try to go somewhere better. He wanted to go home. So I understand those parts. Yes, I can understand that. But there is, like you mentioned, the whole Fafita stuff. There are players that are doing things, that are backflipping on things and stuff, and they're doing it knowing that it can be done with ease. So yeah, I know I'm not going to sit here and have a big debate about it. It's just more like, because it came up again this week, for me, it was just like, man, this is something that NRL has to tighten up. And because, Warriors, for example, have been the victim of it a lot in the past, because players come to the Warriors needing a lifeline, especially Aussie players, and then they start doing well, and then they leave because, other clubs want them, and they're more than happy to go because they're going back home. So yeah, I mean, I would like to see those contract rules tightened, not just because it should be, but because also I think it has affected the Warriors a lot in the past, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Hopefully, Mitch Barnett doesn't backtrack us in a couple of years' time.
Well, the thing with Mitch Barnett is that he acknowledges that coming to the Warriors was the best thing he could have ever done. And he admits that, because not only said he's come over, not only is his game is just he's in career best form. The Warrior, I think the words he said is that Webby and the CEO they just believed in him. They just said they believed in me, and that sort of lifted him up. And he's showing his true potential. He's cracked State of Origin, had an awesome debut, despite the fact that I don't like New South Wales, and he'll probably, the comments around, Mitch Barnett, he's made for Origin. He deserves to be there. He'll be there again if he continues what he's doing. He'll be there next year if he continues to do what he's doing. And he acknowledges that coming to New Zealand was a hard move, but it was necessary, coming out of his comfort zone. And because of that, and because he's enjoying it, he's wanting to sign on, which is awesome for the Warriors, right? It's not awesome for the Warriors, not because what they had been doing on the field, but obviously off the field, behind the scenes, what the club's doing. So that's awesome. Yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up. But look, let's get into Friday night's game against the Eels, because that is the big one that we need to focus on right now, because every game now is vital. We can't afford. I think I read somewhere that the Warriors can afford still to lose one more game, but they shouldn't go with that mentality. They need to look at every game and win every game, and win every game from here, and hopefully other results go our way as well. But let's talk about the game. Do you want to go through? Do you want to take us through the teams, mate?
Yeah, mate, I can do that. I've got it up here. No, that's the wrong game. Here we go. So Chance is back in the fullback jersey. Big in. Dallin and RTS on the wings. Ali Laetoa and Moala Graham Tolfa in the centres again. I thought Laetoa was fantastic on Friday, so hopefully he can have another big game. Shinahos Tavita and Sean Johnson in the halves, as we've talked about. And then the sort of copy and paste for the 4-pack. So Fanua Blake and Barnett at prop. Wade Egan at hooker, Noah Corey and Cook Capewell in the second row, and Dylan Walker at 13. And then interchange, just one change to the last few weeks. So I've got Freddie Lussick, Tom Ale, Jez Tavaga, and Lika Halasima. So Tom Ale comes in for Jackson Ford. Now I haven't actually followed this up, but is Ford injured? I presume.
Yeah. He got injured on the game, and I think he's out for until round 25, round 26. So he's out.
I completely missed that. I'm not sure.
Oh, what's going on, Richard?
Yeah. I just life's busy,
Yeah, fair enough. And looking at the Eels lineup, mate, it doesn't look that bad. They've got a former Warrior there and playing halfback in Dejan Asi, because that's the area they've been really struggling with when Moses isn't there. When Moses isn't there, they've struggled to fill his spot. But you got Dejan Asi playing there, Dylan Brown at 6, which is where he belongs. So it doesn't actually look that bad. You got Lussick there at 14, so Lussick versus Lussick, brother versus brother, both playing in the same position, wearing the same jersey in 14. On paper, it doesn't look like a bad side. You got Clint Gutherson as well, Blaze Talangi, as we've mentioned, Dylan Brown, Regan Campbell Gillard, Bryce Cartwright, Ryan Matheson, Sean Lane. It doesn't look that bad on paper, but they just haven't been able to string of performances together, and they're been lagging at the bottom of the table. But at the same time, I just don't want the Warriors to think this is going to be another, especially Warriors fans, to think this is going to be an easy win, because it's not. No game's easy. Look at what happened with the Tigers. We got there in the end, but it didn't mean it was easy. Didn't mean it was easy. So I think they just needed, like we were talking about this earlier on on the show, where the Warriors don't have an issue with getting the ball and just driving up the field, don't they? They usually use their sets pretty well. They usually go through their sets pretty well. But when they come into the opposition territory, in the opposition 20, where they start to set up, to some attacking moves, set plays, etc., they just can't seem to execute them. They just can't seem to get it right. It's like the passing is like the timing of the passing is off, or the player that they're passing to is not in position well. Like he's not in the right position. So when he takes the ball, it's in an awkward position where it gives enough time for the defense to rush up and tackle them. So it just hasn't been gelling, and that's for me. That's where they've just gone wrong. Everything just seems to be they're not executing those plays. And hopefully with Sean Johnson, then hopefully he's fresh and pumped, ready, because feeling a bit of FOMO, not having played for 4 weeks. Hopefully he's ready for this and ready to lead the charge to the finals, because I still believe we can do it if we win every game, because our draw compared to the other teams' draws that that are sort of around us, and also around 8th position, 7th position, they've got the harder draws, so that works in our favor. But for that to work in our favor, we have to win the game still.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we've got just on the draw, we've got Eels this week at home. We've got Dolphins over in Brisbane. Seagulls at Brookvale, Bulldogs at home, and then Sharks at the Shire at the PointsBet Stadium. So yeah, definitely all winnable games, but we'll have to start. Well, we obviously started last week, got the job done, but yeah, as you said, this week will be another. It's one we should win, but I mean, it's the NRL, and any team, we know that any team can beat any team on their day. And as you said, there are some good players in this Parramatta team. So I'm just hoping that Shaun Johnson's return, he'll just be able to sort of, I don't know, just bring some less panic. As I said earlier as well, I thought running the ball, we were looking good. It was more, at times, the kicking was the real concern for me. It was kicking on the last play. We sort of bombed a few pretty good try scoring options, but earlier in the season, I think there's about 4 games where we didn't score a try down the left at all, and I think so. It's kind of reversed. It feels like the left's been the more functioning side of the last few weeks. So if Harris Savetta can just go about his work, you'd be the little nugget that he is. And then with Shaun coming in, and then I feel like take Neil Corey for example. I feel like he's a player that he elevates his game when he's playing next to Shaun Johnson on the right edge there. So I'm hoping, because I think we've seen Neil Corey's been solid, but I don't know whether we've seen the best of him this season. In the last few weeks, we've seen a few players really step up. Maybe this week will be his time to really show what he's worth and throw that weight around, because when he's running onto some of those Shaun Johnson short balls at speed, it's hard to stop. So it should be. I'm looking forward to it. Another packed out Mount Smart Stadium. Shout out to all the fans and to all the club for making that happen, because I'm still just blown away that we've sold out every game. It's crazy. But I think I'm putting my spotlight on Shaun Johnson this week. He's my man who's gonna step up and take the ball by the horns and bring us home.
Yep. Well, it's a Friday night game, so once that game's over and hopefully we come away with 2 points, I can pretty much guarantee you every Warriors fans will be glued to their TV for the rest of that weekend, trying to figure out what's going on. Because we'll go through the games happening this weekend, because we'll go through our tips. But you got I'm just focused on the teams that are sort of around the same similar points. So we're on 21, and you got the Dolphins, for example, who are on eighth position. They're on 24 points. They're playing the Roosters, and I'm not going to say it's going to be an easy win for the Roosters, but I'd put a lot of money on the Roosters to beat the Dolphins this coming week. Titans and the Broncos. Titans 14th, the Broncos 13th. That'll be a hard one, especially at Seabus Super Stadium. But you got, for example, the Storm. They're playing the Dragons, who are in 10th position. I think they're on 24 points as well. Then you got the Sharks playing the Rabbitohs, who are below us, but still, that could be a tough one. But the Rabbitohs are below us, so it's all good. And then the Panthers are playing the Knights, who are in 11th position, and I'll just expect the Panthers to win that game. And then you got the Bulldogs, Raiders. Bulldogs have been in pretty good form, especially after that win against Brisbane. But they're playing the Raiders, and if they can beat the Raiders, we just slowly edge our way closer to that top 8. So if those games pan out the way we all think they should, and if we win, we'll be at least 1 point out from the top 8, because of the fact that they're all on 24, and this would elevate us to 23. But again, don't want to put too much hope to people, because you never know what's going to happen in the NRL. And I think this season is just one that proves that. When everything is the whole season, for the entire season, the ladder's been congested, because there's been upset after upset every week. So let's just hope there isn't an upset this week when it comes to the Warriors. So anyway, before we move on to tips, mate, any last remarks about the game? Because again, I think we've already said it already. I just want to see the Warriors tighten up their defense, because they've let in some really soft tries, haven't they? They let in some really soft tries, and I don't have an issue with their go forward movement, because their sets are pretty. Yeah, they go forward pretty well. It's just executing those fourth and fifth tackle plays where they're not getting it right, and also the kicking. So again, the kicking, like you said. So any last remarks before we move into tips?
No, but just and Sean Johnson, we trust. That he's going to be our saving grace this weekend. I reckon.
All right. Well, I want you to call it. I want you to call it for everyone that's listening right now. What's Sean Johnson going to do this weekend? You're going to call it.
He's going to get 1 try.
Yep.
3 try assists and kick 7 from 7 from the tee.
Okay. Awesome. If you get at least 2 of those right, I was gonna say I'll do something, but I just can't think of what it is. I was gonna say I'll go streaking, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm I'm a family man now, so yeah. But anyway,
tricky to the main streets of Whitby.
Exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't have done that anyway. But anyway, we'll talk about that another time. But let's get into the tips, mate. So again,
okay, bro.
We'll just summarize it quickly. Warriors win for you.
Yep, absolutely.
I'll
go 1 to 12. I was going to go 13 plus, but it didn't quite get us over the line last week. I think it was 12 points in the end. We had it in the bag, and then the Wires ended up. I'm in the Tigers that scored that late try.
Yeah, I honestly don't think points differential matters anymore for the Warriors because they're on a odd number. They're not on an even number of points, so it doesn't really matter. So I don't think points differential. I mean, it'll matter for the teams that are on, or like 4 teams that are on 24 points. That's when the points differential will matter, but not for us, not for Warriors. But anyway, let's go through the game. So tomorrow night, West Tigers Cowboys. Let's do this quickly. West Tigers Cowboys.
Just great to have Thursday night footy back. Just real quickly. Cowboys obviously.
Yep, Cowboys for me as well. We both said Warriors. I'm with you 1 to 12. Hopefully 13 plus. But at the end of the day, the only reason why I want 13 plus is just because they have a clinical performance. Yeah. So actually, I'm going to change that. 13 plus. 13 plus. I'll go 13 plus.
Nice. I rate that.
Yeah. Okay. Dolphins Roosters on Friday night.
Oh, the Roosters cost me a bit of money on my multi last week. I had them in a point start multi, and I had them minus 4.5, I think.
Yeah.
And they were up by 20, I think. Oh no, we're not by 20. It must have been 16 with about 5 minutes to go, and then they let in bloody 2 intercepts, and they won by like 4 points. So as much as I'd love to bet against them because they've let me down the last few weeks, so I think the Finns just seem to be slowly. I think it's hard to know because the Finns were pretty bad last week. They were good in the first half, really bad in the second half. But Roosters for me. Yeah,
the thing with Roosters, I hate it when it happens, doesn't it? When you've pretty much got their bet, and you've got it in the hand, and then all of a sudden something just happens in the last minute or the last few minutes, it just ruins it for you, right?
It was the third leg or 3-league multi, and the first two legs at piss time. So that's all right. I'll live.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've got Roosters as well. Okay, Saturday afternoon, first game for Saturday, the Super Saturday as they call it. Titans versus the Broncos.
Oh, Titans have already beaten them once this year, and the Broncos they're so hard to pick at the moment. But no, they won't lose to the Titans twice in a season. I'll go the Broncos.
I'll go Titans just for the sake of it.
Nice.
Because they're home, they're home as well.
Bro, I would not be surprised at all, to be honest. The Titans, even though they're a bit further down the table, they've been playing some bloody good footy, and Broncos haven't. But I just think that surely Kiwi will wind the boys up. There's too much talent in that Broncos team to not be winning games.
Well, I think you're right though. Like whoever wins that game, Titans or Broncos, you wouldn't be surprised. Like, so you say Titans win, I'm not surprised. But if the Broncos win, I'm not surprised. So it's one of those games that either team you just know that they could both win it in the sense of in terms of their form, their current form at the moment. So anyway, following that game on Saturday night, Storms versus Dragons.
Yeah, Storm will play.
Storm. That's the thing about the difference at the moment in the season. Like we were talking about the Warriors with execution, is that the Storm they got a big spray from Craig Bellamy. They got the massive spray from him because they were just not doing well, but they still find a way to win because they just know how to. They know how to execute their plays when they get it when they get there. They know how to execute plays. So despite the spray and everything, they still came back and won. But it wasn't a polished performance from them. But they still know how to execute their plays, and I just wish the Warriors were a bit like that sometimes, where they just know how to win, kind of like the All Blacks. The All Blacks of old, where even if they're losing by like a certain amount of points with like 10 minutes to go, you just know that they can win it because they're that good. So kind of like that. So I kind of hope the Warriors will mold into a team like that. But anyway, the following game after that, Sharks Rabbitohs.
Sharkies.
Yeah, I'll go. I never go Sharkies, but I'll go Sharkies just for this week because
But down in the bunnies after last week, I thought. I mean, my Raiders were great as always, but I think the Rabbitohs looked they weren't. They needed to win to stay in contention, and you wouldn't have thought that was a team that needed to win to stay. And it wasn't against a great. The Raiders they're an entertaining team, but they're not the best team in the comp. So
yeah. All right, and Sunday first game, Panthers Knights.
Can't bet against the Panthers at the moment. They looked very good on Sunday afternoon.
And Nathan Cleary back as well, so that's a big boost for them. And last game for the round, Bulldogs Raiders.
Oh, doggies. How good were the doggies against the Broncos? 41, I think they scored today. 41-16.
They were awesome. The thing is that
amazing.
They were awesome on attack, which they haven't really shown. They've been awesome on defense, but they were awesome on attack. So that's a scary thing, is that they actually, their attack was awesome, and that's the part where they've improved, because before they had no attack, and but they showed their true potential in that game.
At home this week as well. I don't think they've lost at home this year. So
I think it's a sold out. I think it's a sold out game.
Is it?
I think I read it's a sold out game as well. They're trying to emulate, trying to copy the Warriors. Yeah, but nah. All right. And the bye for this weekend is the Manly Sea Eagles, which helps them a lot, especially where they're sitting on the table. So that's going to help them. Well, if you're still listening to us right now, sorry for all the technical difficulties we've had tonight. We've had a couple, haven't we, Richard?
I just accidentally just closed the tab that I had open for the conversation, but we're still recording, so we're all good.
No, fair enough. So if you've noticed some pausings and cuts, that's the reason why. But thanks again. We're gonna wrap it up for tonight. Thanks for joining us tonight, and thank you for all you loyal listeners. We've been getting more and more subscribers to our channels and stuff. YouTube's starting to grow as well, so we're really, really grateful and thankful for all your support. Remember, I'll give it to Richard from here to tell you where you can go to subscribe and like on our channels.
Absolutely, obviously on Spotify, Apple. We're on Spreaker, we're on iHeart, obviously YouTube, as John mentioned. So just look us up, Couch Coaches, with a little green and blue logo with a little couch on it. Hopefully you'll be able to find us in the top 30 Couch Coaches searches on those platforms. And obviously Facebook, Instagram as well, where you can find us there. Exactly.
And we've said this many times throughout the season, is that we will look to change our name, because we didn't realize there are about like a 30 to 50 other Couch Coaches podcasts out there. So if there have been people telling me that they've tried to look us up and they just can't find us. So we apologize for that as well, but we will change it for next season. That's one thing we definitely going to do. But again, thanks everyone for joining us, and as always, up the wires.
Up the wires, baby. Choo, choo, choo. We've got the faith. Just a matter of faith.